Beautiful friends, I hope that you are all doing amazing today. So, Vegas is being invaded by aliens, an indictment on a former president, and unprecedented fires over there in Canada. Seems like the world's going mad. Spirit told us that there was going to be several bridge collapses, if you recall, and obvious signs that our infrastructure is collapsing all around. But we would have never have guessed, or at least I would have never have guessed, that it would actually be a bridge on I-95 in Philadelphia that actually burns and then collapses. Interesting, right? Well, this really cracked open some conspiracy theory nuts, believing that it was all a attack on the infrastructure. Was it really? We're going to talk about that today and put this rumor and conspiracy to rest. A warning to visitors at Yellowstone National Park. This aligns with another past prediction that I said about both Yellowstone Park, but separately, animal attacks. Of all things, animal attacks. Why is it exactly that it seems lately that there are more and more animal attacks, including shark attacks? Is there more about this than we're seeing? What is it exactly? And is there going to be even more of an increase that you need to know about today? I warned of boat accidents in this accident prone energy that we've been in for quite some time. And sadly, one person was killed in New York when a tour boat capsized. Some more information today from my team spirit guides to help you to be more mindful during this accident prone energy. Really, really important stuff, my friends. Are the Irish about to put over 20,000 cattle to rest? Are they literally going to murder 20,000 cows in the name of climate? Well, we're going to cover that today. But one thing I will tell you to all those beef eaters out there, beware, because it's going to come to your area eventually too. But really, what's going on and where is this meat actually going? That's pretty alarming too, from information that Spirit gave me yesterday. Why are the elite upping the ante when it comes to their underground bunkers? Going back to my video, millionaire bunkers and safe zones and places to live. Folks like Zuckerberg now has more protection with military drones than the own president of this country or any other country has. Why is that? What do they know that we don't know that they're not telling us? I'm going to share my view on this and why the elite are kind of running in fear right now. What do they know, again, that we don't know? Well, you're going to know soon enough in today's broadcast. A warning as to where you should not no longer be holding your money. That's right. A big warning to those if you hold money in places like PayPal. A big warning to you and an alert that you're going to need to know, especially a warning that goes out to cryptocurrency people as well. Another cryptocurrency event is about to occur that you are going to want to know about, especially if you are invested in cryptocurrencies. Thousands of fish, once again, show up on the shores dead, this time in Texas. Spirit warned us that there would be problems that would arise when it comes to waters. And we were also warned that this year, in my January predictions, that beaches would be closed this season. Many beaches, not all beaches, but many beaches. Why exactly are these fish washing ashore? I got some great information for you about that. Did Joe Biden actually die? I think it was last week, maybe the week before, that Spirit told us that he did just recently die. Well, I have a story on that today for you, and you be the judge, and you let me know what you think in the comments below. Some very interesting and very extremely alarming information about our water and the water wars that I predicted back a while ago. Could this all be linked to the sudden growth of the transgender community? That's right. You heard it here. Not first, but you heard it here, and I'm going to talk to you about that and why this could be. Again, you got to hear it first, somehow related to the waters. And I've been saying for a long time that they've been putting it in our water, putting all kinds of stuff in our water purposely, and then some stuff leaking in from, farms and everything else. new predictions, and so much more today on this episode number 70 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update. And I just had tea, so I have no tea. I just got my water. Gotta love your water. Remember to love your water. So welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joseph Tittel, and I welcome you with my heart and soul to our little broadcast here. And I hope that you enjoy the material and content that I provide. If you do want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, then you found the perfect tribe. You're going to want to make sure you hit that subscribe, the bell, and all to ensure that you get notifications. Down below in the links, you will find at the top my newsletter, which you're going to want to subscribe to because it's free. Why not? That way you'll never miss a video at all because they're in the newsletter, along with events, inspirational messages, and so much more. And that way you always know where to find me through my newsletter. Also, I want to thank all the members of my Subscribe Star Awaken Your Spirit community and those who put through Chat Cash, PayPal, and everything else, because it's all of you that make this free content available for everybody else. And for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you for hanging out with me on this Tittle Tuesday number 70. So happy to be here. So have you all noticed how things have gotten brighter? I know it might sound crazy to some, but have you noticed? Maybe you did notice and you didn't say anything to anybody because you might have thought you sounded crazy. But the colors are brighter. Colors are brighter, and we have actually become more and more aware of our intuition from those crazy energy shifts that we just went through over the past 2 months, since spring equinox, actually. So this is totally heightening our abilities to see things with more clarity. And this whole, ability and clarity has been increasing significantly since 2012, but especially since we hit 2020 and the 2020 vision. Now we just seen another acceleration in our spiritual, awakening, with seeing things with more clarity. I think that's really, really kind of fascinating and interesting. And I was one of those that thought, oh, maybe it's just me and everything looks more colorful now, until others started saying it too. And then I noticed, and Spirit confirmed, that this is a part of our awakenings in the shifts and recalibrations in our energy and our DNA. As Mother Earth shifts, we must shift too, as well as our DNA and our whole biological makeup. So this coming Saturday, we have Sunday in some parts of the world, like Australia, mate, or Japan, or other places. It'll be Sunday morning, or here in Arizona, it'll be 9:37 p.m. Saturday evening Pacific time, when we will once again see the sky become darkened by the new moon. And once again, we can, welcome in the arrival of June's new moon, symbolizing, of course, once again, fresh beginnings and infinite possibilities. This is a time that we need to allow your inner light to shine brighter and brighter. During this time and moving forward into the future, this is going to be important for all of us. Take some sacred time and some sacred moments over the next few days to begin whispering your dreams to the universe. For this is the new moon is the best time ever to put out your intentions, because your intentions hold the greatest power on the new moon. Remember that. Remember to embrace the cycles of life. We have to remember that with every beginning, there's an ending, but also with every ending is a new beginning. And that new beginning start is coming on the new moon this coming weekend. Remember that you possess the strength and power and the magic to manifest your dreams into reality. Even though predictions can sometimes, more often than not, be a bit of gloom and doom for some folks, I got to remind you that they are here to offer us warnings so that we can be aware and so that we can always be prepared. So, and if it bothers you, you should not be following predictions, because unfortunately we are in a time on this planet where lots of things are happening, good and bad. And I talk about good, but nobody ever seems to want to acknowledge it. Love your water. Excuse me. I got some ice. Accident-prone energy, friends. Accident-prone energy. The terrible fire that just struck Philadelphia, that caused a bridge that is only 5 years old, may I remind you. It's pretty much a new bridge that collapsed on I-95 corridor in Philadelphia. Now, at the same time, we have this terrible bus accident in New Zealand carrying a wedding party and guests that kill 10 people. Unbelievable with the accidents and accident prone. And I did talk about bus accidents, but not particularly that one, but I did talk about accidents with all things, really. But Hunter Valley bus driver Brett Button said, "Fasten your seatbelts." Moments before this crash, is what he told the courts. New South Wales police alleged the driver of a horror bus crash that left 10 wedding guests deceased, 25 injured, was driving too quickly for the conditions of the road, as two survivors remain in critical condition. Brett Button, 58 years old, was granted bail on Tuesday morning and left the Cessnock police station several hours later. He has been charged with 10 counts of dangerous driving, occasional death, and one further count of driving and retaliation. Never heard of those things before, but that's a very sad thing. Prayers go out to those people and those families. Folks, it's really important to be mindful now, especially in the accident prone energy. Don't do anything that's super risky, especially. But meanwhile, in Philadelphia, my hometown, the poor folks of Philly aren't having much good luck lately. Have you noticed? First, they lost the World Series, then they lost the Super Bowl, and now they lost part of the I-95 corridor. This reminds me of going back, it was in the 90s, and I swear it's the same spot, but I could be wrong. I'm not there. I don't know where it's at exactly. But there was a tire fire, if you remember, way back that burned out 95, because I used to work in Center City, Philadelphia at the time. And I remember switching over to taking the train because it was just too much traffic because the bridge was out for like 2 years. It was awful. But even though I did predict that there would be attacks on infrastructure, this is one I would not have guessed. But let me just go back, because first, people thought instantly that there was a conspiracy, that the person, people were reporting, ran from the vehicle and they can't find them. But, that's changed because, of course, this would initially cause all the conspiracy nuts to completely crack open, alleging that it was a purposeful act of sabotage, which it could have been, but it wasn't, on our infrastructure, claiming that the driver again ran from the scene and there was no body found. But then the body was allegedly found, and the nuts had to crawl back into their shells. Let me read up this article for you right here. I-95 bridge collapse. What you need to know about the disaster in Philadelphia. A weekend commercial tanker fire beneath the I-95 overpass in Philadelphia led to a stretch of highway in both directions being closed, causing headaches for drivers and a rather massive cleanup project. But you already know all that. It's kind of wild looking at those pictures. It seriously looks like the same bridge as the tire fire. It probably isn't, but it's that same point between Academy and Cottman Ave. That was exactly what happened last time with the tire fire back in the 90s. Thought that was really interesting, but let's put some conspiracies to rest, shall we, friends? Even though I did predict that there would be attacks on our infrastructure globally, like we saw with the dam in the UKR, for example, not to mention the deteriorating infrastructures that will collapse because of natural causes, such as weather and such. The incident in Philadelphia was not at all an act of sabotage. It was a man fulfilling his own sole contract, which obviously came to a tragic end. Prayers to their family. At the same time, this will sadly be a seed that's planted into the heads of the psychopaths and the mentally ill, giving them crazy ideas, of course. Giving some crazy person, it only takes one crazy person, giving them that seed and planting that and giving them an idea that we can only together hope and pray never becomes a reality. Stealing a tanker truck or something like that. So it's going to be attempted. Again, we can hold in the light that it doesn't work out that way, that they don't get a hold of it, and that people driving tanker trucks, especially with extremely flammable contents, should be extra aware now, because the seed's been planted into the minds of crazy peoples. And not only that, I mean, the craziest ones of them all are the ones that are running the whole show, right? Little puppet masters in the background. So my warning to this accident-prone energy is still in effect, so you know. So this month alone, just this month in June alone, we've already seen so many incidents and so many accidents, fires, tragedies. In the month of June, we witnessed accidents and incidents such as the dam that blew up, the bridge that collapsed in Philadelphia, the boat that flipped over, several boat incidents. Just we're only hearing about the one in New York right now. A bus accident, severe, 10 people. The plane that was allegedly crashed, but we know was shot down. All these all happening just in the month of June. So my warning to you all about the accident-prone energy is still in place, and we are going to see more and more of this when it comes to areas of transportation. So when you're out and about transportation, just be mindful, be aware, be alert. Don't be afraid. Don't be freaked out, because that's just going to attract something negative to yourself. Just as long as you're mindful and all and know that you're taken care of and you're in God's hands, you will always be fine. Remember that. Really, really important. So I still feel that we're going to see at least 2 more significant plane crashes. One plane crash is going to hit some type of a structure, such as a tall building that's going to ignite a large fire that spreads. I see a larger plane that feels like it to me, and that plane in a building could be in a pretty big city too, like Chicago, New York, or somewhere else. It might not be in the United States, it could be abroad actually, but crashed into maybe I can't tell if it was an office building or an apartment building, but I saw that it looked gray on the outside. I remember that aspect. I'm trying to get that vision back in my head again. Not that I really want that vision in my head, but you can't sometimes. You got to do what you got to do. So I see a larger plane that feels somehow, again, like it's being taken down, but called an accident. And this, I believe, has something to do with the Middle East. Whether it happens in the Middle East or whether the flight pattern is connected somehow to the Middle East, but somehow connected to that. And sadly, we have not seen the end when it comes to bridge collapses and even dams that are sabotaged by psychopaths. My warning, of course, is still strongly in effect when it comes to the Hoover, right here on the border of Arizona and Nevada, which could occur on 7/4, July 4th. We have some major energies coming in on 7/7. I will do a video on that and publish that probably, maybe, what's today? Maybe this week, but probably next week. The 7/7 vibration, something to look forward to, something to be aware of, because we have the full moon coming in on July 3rd, and then we have July 4th the next day. Now, other dates that I would say that could be potential, and it's not necessarily this year, by the way, but with the Hoover, the date November 11th, 11/11 came to mind, because I told you when you look at it from up above, from satellite, the 2 towers on each side resemble an 11/11, and we know all about how the elite and the Freemasons use their numbers to their advantage. But also, when I did the numerology last week for you, when the Hoover Dam, we got 11/9 and 9/11, remember? So how about instead of 9/11, they reverse it and it's 11/9, November 9th, or January 19th, but November would make the most sense. So prayers, and hold that in the light. We're going to see others occur, including another one over there with the war in Europe. Spirit just told me that they're targeting another dam over there in UKR in Russia. This one might actually be more on Russia's territory, according to Spirit. And Russia, I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but Russia is definitely going to have its hands full, because I see, as I said before, a massive attack. It's already happening, but I see a massive attack coming to Russia. And this might be the dam. It might be a dam on their side, to make it look legit, like UKR didn't blow up their own dam, kind of like that. But I don't know. Well, we can always allege and believe, but, use your intuition. Remember that 2020 clarity. You got it, friends. You got it. Don't trust your first instinct always. That's what I teach my students in master classes. So a very large, significant bridge collapse will come. And again, I feel this is during the winter months because I felt like the waters below were icy cold, and this occurs in the evening hours. According to my vision, it was like dusk, or not dark, but dusk. I mean, it could be dark, but my vision, it looked like dusk. It was like partially light, but really mostly dark. We're going to see another incident similar to what happened in Philadelphia, which again will crack open those conspiracy nuts once again. But to our construction workers, I warn our friends, I have lots of friends in construction, to our construction workers, again, accident prone energy, be careful, especially our steel workers that are up high on those steel beams. It's crazy. I have a friend that does that too. That's just crazy. In Philadelphia, actually. So, be mindful, because I see a significant increase to construction accidents, incidents, and fatalities occurring. And this goes for our road workers as well. Please be aware to our folks working on our roads, because I see a major accident occurring at a road construction site. In my vision, it looked like something out of a movie. I swear to goodness, it sounded like something out of a movie. In my vision, it looked like I was watching, like, I don't know, like Die Hard or something. And when the Die Hard it was Die Hard 2, I think, with the going in the construction area or whatever. But yeah, it reminds me of that. So I see a major accident occurring at a road construction site, and I see visions of both smokes and flames, and it appears that they may be working on a bridge or an overpass when this occurs. It might actually pops in my mind, not in my notes, that it may be also connected to a high-speed chase, which would take us likely to California, because that's like the state of high-speed chases. If you didn't know, there's actually even, I think, cams and stuff to watch the high-speed chases happening in California all the time. Cray, friends, cray. So in a past prediction, I did see visions of a horrific bus accident, but I'm not taking claims to the one that happened in New Zealand, because that's just accident prone, and accidents happening more than ever, causing more fatalities than ever. But what I did say in my past visions, and I was reminded of today, that I saw visions in a bus accident that somehow reminded me of the bus accident that occurred with Gloria Estefan back in the 80s. What's that song she sings? Come on, baby, shoot. I can't sing. I can't get that song in my head. She sings it too fast, but you know what I'm talking about, like dance, baby. So it reminded me of Gloria Estefan. So again, I've said this in the past, but I'll touch on it because it came up today, that a bus accident occurring amongst likely musicians, because they're traveling in buses, that reminds me of Gloria Estefan. Which also could, I don't know where that happened with Gloria. I forget where that happened. I thought it was in the United States, but maybe not. Not sure. So speaking of celebrities, excuse me, I need some water, friends. I hope you're having a good day today. Are you having a good day today? I'm having a lovely day here in Arizona today. So speaking of famous people and celebrities that jumped into mind, and some that will be likely facing some serious health issues and may even perish. Ozzy Osbourne. Man, I don't even know how that man still walks. I swear he's like a walking zombie. Whatever drugs he's doing, it's keeping him alive, but that might not last very much longer, as I see Ozzy undergoing some health issues and perhaps even surgery related to the big C. Phil Collins, isn't he a wife beater? Wasn't there this thing where he beat his wife during COVID or something? I could be wrong, but something going on with him as well. He seems to be suffering severe depression, is what Spirit tells me right now, and he's hitting the drink a little too much. He may be canceling some kind of appearances that are coming up, and he could perish more likely because of his own hand, choosing to go on his own. Don't be surprised if you hear about him hanging from a doorknob with a red tie, like all those that happened back in 2020, if you recall. Paul McCartney, alleged Paul McCartney, because conspiracy theories will tell you that Paul McCartney was killed way back when, and they were replaced with a body double, which I believe totally could believe that. Totally, it's a very believable story because of how big they were. They needed a replacement. Remember, those record companies are all about making money. It's all about that and getting their evil messages across through their albums or so forth. Look at Charles Manson was inspired by the Beatles' White Album. what he says, if you watch the interviews with him, it was the Beatles' White Album that inspired him. He thought it was talking to him, and it probably was, because there's lots of demonic energies attached to music. Remember the rock and roll music, burning albums and all that, and how, there are different tones. Not all rock and roll music. I love rock and roll music, but there are some, especially the heavy thrasher music like Megadeth, definitely imposes dark entity energies, without a doubt. But anyway, Paul McCartney came to mind, who to me will certainly be the next Beatle legend to pass away. When is beyond me, but it could be this year. I also see that Paul has issues with his digestive tract and with his prostate. And Paul may even also undergo some type of surgical procedure. Spirit showed me a vision today of little black spots, which I've had, 33 decades of clients. I've seen many. I've diagnosed many people, especially breast cancer, where I saw it and told them, you must get help. You must go to the doctor. I would never say, hey, you got cancer. You can't say that. But you could say that, hey, look, Spirit shows me a vision that there's something there that you need to get checked out. And that's how it comes through. And luckily, many people have taken that message from Spirit very seriously. But I think of how many did not take that message very seriously. See what I'm saying? So anyway, Spirit showed me little black spots related to Paul McCartney, which to me is 99% of the time the big C. Odd one that jumped in my mind today is Jack Black. Jack Black jumped in my mind today. Perhaps Jack Black may not be the only one facing health issues, but also an accident that may place Jack Black in the ER ICU. Now, this creepy character popped out at me, Woody Allen. Talk about creeps. Woody Allen came to mind, who belongs behind bars as far as I'm concerned. But he belongs behind bars like all of them that are tangled into that web of darkness. And they get to run free when they really should be wrapped up in that web of darkness permanently. But they are in that web of darkness. He definitely is. Woody Allen is. And he just popped in mind. I didn't get anything else other than, they get to run free performing their evil acts and duties to their master, Lucifer. That's Woody Allen. So I would imagine he's probably on his way out. I don't know. I didn't really get exactly. He just popped up. And I put him in my notes. Probably like 5 days ago, he just popped in my mind. And I just put in the notes. I didn't get any information, maybe more controversy around him, but I'm going to say more likely he's on the way out. Spirit says to me, he also is suffering severe depression and going through or about to go through somewhat of a late life crisis instead of midlife crisis, because he's in late life crisis. So there's definitely crisis going on in the world of Woody Allen, and we will see him in the news in the near future. Yellowstone National Park, that is at the top of my travel list when I have the opportunity to travel freely. Right now, I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old baby girl that I love and need to be here for because she's got to pee every hour on the hour. So anyway, Yellowstone National Park, I warned about Yellowstone National Park quite a few times, but a warning just came out directly from Yellowstone Park, a warning to their visitors of the Yellowstone National Park as animal attacks are increasing, just as predicted. If you recall, I said that maybe a month ago, actually. I think it might have even been my June predictions. Excuse me. Excuse me, my apologies. Moving right along. So yeah, why is it exactly that it seems lately that there are so many more animal attacks occurring globally? And this ain't nothing. And shark attacks too. Did you know that there have been, more than 30 shark attacks already in 2023? That's a lot. I think it sounds like a lot. I mean, I don't know. I didn't do the research to see if it's a lot, but it sounds like a lot, right? So why exactly do you think this is happening? And is it going to continue to increase? And what do you need to know about this? Well, let's first talk about the Yellowstone National Park's little article here. Yellowstone National Park issues a warning against getting too close to wildlife. Well, first of all, if you see these Taurons, you know what a Tauron is? If you take tourist and add it to moron, you have a Tauron. And these idiots walk out there trying to get photos with animals. And I'm sorry, you're going to run up to a bear, you deserve to be eaten by the bear. I'll cheer the bear on why he's eating you for being an idiot. It's one less idiot on the planet. That's where I look at it. All to get that photo. You're an idiot. You have no respect for nature. And if you're one of them ones that get out of your car when you're not supposed to get a photo with a wild animal, you're an idiot. Just big old idiot just to get that picture. Look at all the people that walk backwards in Yellowstone Park into those hot geysers and die because they're walking backwards trying to get that picture. Why? Because they're not very smart. They're very much less than smart. But yeah, too close to wildlife. Following several recent incidents, the park calls on visitors to protect wildlife by understanding how their actions can negatively impact life. The National Park Service is warning visitors at Yellowstone National Park to respect wildlife. See, that's the problem. These people don't have no damn respect. They throw their trash in the street and they have no respect. They shouldn't even be allowed in the park, half of them. I go down to my creek all the time and I'm picking up trash from people that aren't even supposed to be there because there's no trespassing signs there. On weekends when I have time, I run down there and make sure nobody's down there because it's just unbelievable. People have no respect for Mother Nature. It's just unbelievable. It breaks my heart, actually. So wildlife and maintain a safe distance following a series of incidents in which people interfered with the park's animals. Yeah. The Park Service warned visitors to stay away from any animal, even if it's near their campsite, trail, boardwalk, parking lot, or on a road. Stay away at least 100 yards, especially from bears and wolves. Yellowstone provides millions of visitors. One of the I want to go there so bad. But yeah, that's what's going on at Yellowstone, folks. That's what's going on there. Less than smart people trying to get that legendary photo because they're just not smart and have no respect for the earth or for nature. I'm sorry to say, but if they get eaten by a bear, likely they deserve it. Now, being attacked, that happens and it's not their fault. They could be taking a picture next to a tree not knowing there's a bear behind them. So again, it's always important to be mindful, especially in accident prone energy, because that would go into that same vibration. Even though it's not an accident being attacked by an animal, but it's still in that same vibrational energy. Here's the other thing that Spirit showed me is this has to do with the ascension that's happening with us on the planet. Remember, I told you things are more colorful, more brighter. We're seeing things in a different light. Well, animals are too. And now they're seeing the real dangers that we're posing upon them in a different way, in a different light. They're seeing things differently like we are. And they're going to start rebuking against us, against not just everybody. And, there will be some cases where, probably rabies makes a raccoon go crazy at somebody or a kid or something. But most of these attacks, the majority of the ones that are out of water, are from less than smart people not having respect for nature and not being mindful as well too, because it could be that you could I almost walked into and tripped over a javelina on a path at nighttime because I couldn't see, but Spirit told me to stop, and I stopped, put on my flashlight on my phone, and there she was standing right in front of me. Now, being that I have respect for nature and animals, and I can communicate with animals, I told her that I was, can I please pass you? Because she was standing right in the path blocking. I heard the babies playing in the background, and that's when people get attacked by javelina, when you go near their babies. And I just silently told her intuitively, hey, look, I'm harmless. I just got to get past here. She stepped out of the path, which was so amazing. She stepped right aside, like took one step aside, and I knew I could pass her. I passed her, and as I walked past her, she stepped right back onto that trail to protect her babies. I thought that was so amazing of an experience. But again, when you're respectful of nature and animals, yeah, they have respect too, believe it or not. They have feelings as well. So Spirit warned us not long ago that animals would begin to strike back and would include all animals, mammals, and such. We already seen again more than 30 or at least 30 shark attacks in 2023. We saw whales attacking boats. And while in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, the green energy is killing whales and mammals. So maybe the whales are striking back because they can communicate in long distances. We have no clue how bright and amazing they are. Their brains are bigger than us. They're amazing creatures. They can communicate from the other side of the planet, Spirit tells me. So how do we know that they're not getting a little pissed off that you're killing their cousins on the other side of the Atlantic? But really, what Spirit showed me is this is the vibrational changes that are happening on the planet. And then the stress of, we're having shortages. Animals are too. Look at the forest fires are burning them out of their habitats and so much more. So this is going to cause them to become furious, so to speak. So I would, sorry, something in my eyeball, besides my eyeball, something else in there. So yeah, Jersey's killing the whales. So sad. So I would tell you, I see a small group of surfers. I had a vision that I saw a small group of surfers in the waters, beautiful waters from my vision. I don't know where this is. It could be somewhere like New Zealand or Australia. But I saw a small group of surfers suddenly being bombarded and surrounded by a group of sharks. It looked like something out of a horror movie, actually. And I felt like one probably won't be so lucky, while the other ones managed to get out of the water. The movie Jaws came to mind today. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Great movie. But Jaws came to life, and not with the surfers separately. Separately, the movie Jaws jumped out at me. So therefore, I would take this as a message from Spirit that very serious. I would take this very seriously. This whole message of Spirit playing Jaws in my head. Now I got that song in my head. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, I would take it very seriously, and I would take this that we are going to have a real life scenario of the movie Jaws. And I believe, again, this could be in Australia or New Zealand, while warnings go into place to avoid the waters altogether in places like the Caribbean, Florida, and Cuba. So it'll be interesting because if you remember in my predictions, I talked about beach closures and major beach closures. So back to Yellowstone Park, remember I predicted that parts of the park would be closed and eventually, potentially, the whole entire park being closed. But I felt that this is mostly due to weather and earth shifts that are occurring. But, again, who would have guessed that it was Taurons ruining it for everybody that's causing them to close down parts of the park? Because they have shut down parts of the park to keep people away from the animals. So, just like here in Arizona, the Hopi land up there in northern Arizona where the Hopi natives live and have lived for thousands of years, the Three Mesas, they won't allow you to come to their ceremonies anymore because of a Tauron who came and took photos when it is sacred to them not to. And they tell you when you go. I went to one of their ceremonies. I was so fortunate to be invited. Amazing, actually, absolutely amazing in the way they come out in their ceremony dressed as the Kachina spirits. It was wild. What a great experience. But they don't let people go there because they take pictures and that's sacred. Nobody's allowed to see their ceremonial dress and all. So yeah, same thing. So that's what's going to end up happening with Yellowstone. And eventually they're going to start closing off parts completely, closing down some of the campgrounds. But now at the same time, does this have something to do with the WEF, World Economic Forum, and the elite wanting to prevent us from traveling and prevent us from going places? Right? Getting us out. And, remember during COVID lockdown, you couldn't even go to the park and walk around. It's ridiculous. It's a park. You should be able to go outside, not be locked in your house. I mean, there's nobody else out there, especially here. I went out and walked anyway because there was nobody in Sedona, so it was great. It was awesome, actually. Very, very awesome. Going to Bell Rock and drumming with my sister, doing some shamanic journey and being the only single person on Bell Rock. That was just, what a blessing that was. But anyway, going back to Yellowstone National Park and animal attacks, they're still going to have more animal attacks at Yellowstone Park, even after, warning people. People don't listen. People don't care. Again, they have no respect. Hey, look, I live in a gated community that has big gates and big signs that say no trespassing, and these idiots come walking through here like they live here. No consideration at all. They get thrown out very quickly because there's cameras everywhere, but, what makes you think you can go through a gate that says no trespassing? Same thing with Yellowstone Park. It just blows my mind how inconsiderate and disrespectful people can be. Not all people, because there's amazing people in this world like you. You're amazing. And I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's move on because I also see a pack of bears will put the life of a toddler at risk, being that their parents are lacking the skills to keep their kids safe. So hopefully nothing comes out of that. My vision was very disturbing, but I hold in the light that that doesn't come into fruition. Another one that's interesting is alligator attacks. That's right. Alligator attacks will be on the rise and on the list this season, especially down there in Florida. And we're going to see several horror stories coming out of Florida, and at least one of them involving a child and several involving animals. So, folks in Florida, keep your doggies on a leash or they're going to get eaten by the alligators, which is more common than you would think it is when it comes to animals being eaten by alligators. They got to eat something, right? And if your dog's out on the run, that alligator's faster than your dog is. They're quick. They're very snap, gone. You don't even know they're there. So, folks in Florida, be aware of the alligator attacks. And I also have a vision that Spirit shows me right now of this giant alligator walking into a gas station store, I guess it is. Big, huge, gigantic. Looks like something out of the movie Alligator horror movie. Anyway, let's move on to money and finance, because this is an important warning to let you know that you need to be very, very aware of where you're holding your money. That's right. You should definitely not be holding your money in places like PayPal, Venmo, and other payment apps, according to the financial watchdog, who warns to not store cash there. The Consumer Financial Protective Bureau is warning consumers not to store money in non-bank peer-to-peer payment apps such as Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, because that money is not automatically insured by the government. I never knew that. Did you know that? Government will get out of paying you anyway. They always do. A growing number of consumers prefer to make payments without cash and are adopting payment apps. More than 3/4 of U.S. adults have used at least one payment app, according to the agency. The director warned that in a June 1st statement that payment services like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and Apple Pay are increasingly used as substitutes for traditional banking or credit union accounts, but lack the same protections to ensure that your funds are safe. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation insures bank accounts up to $250K. However, payment apps are definitely not federally insured. Interesting. So customers would lose their funds completely if the company were to fail. Good to know, because folks, they're going to fail. They're going to trickle downwards. I see major drops in the PayPal completely, major drops in PayPal. And I see the merging together of 2, perhaps 3 different payment companies. And I feel like PayPal will somehow be involved in this purchase in order to try to save PayPal's butt, because other apps like Venmo are beating out PayPal, or are going to beat out PayPal. And I see a major decline. I don't know what's happening with PayPal. They just lost billions of dollars earlier this year when they put out policy saying that they can fine you $2,500 for saying anything on your social media that they don't like. So I'm weaning away from it. I'm looking into, and I haven't had a chance yet, but getting different apps besides PayPal, and different options. I keep my money in a credit union, but I use my PayPal for everything. It's what I use for clients, but I'm weaning away from that. And I would tell you, you should do the same. I see a big hack that's going to take place with PayPal Corporation. Big, big hack. And I feel like this hack is somehow related to the inside. Not only that, there's some kind of software system that's scanning and taking parts of people's money daily. That's going to break out. I don't know if that's what PayPal, I think it is, but it's scanning. I swear there was a movie about this. I swear there was, where it's just taking, say, 10 cents from every account. And if you do that to a million accounts, you just made $10 million, right? Just taking 10 cents, and people ain't going to notice 10 cents. Well, they're going to get busted, and it's going to be big, and it's going to be huge, and people are going to be shocked to see that, again, it's all partially inside, and they're stealing your own money through their own algorithm systems that are in place, and the new ones that are going into place, according to what Team Spirit just told me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. We wouldn't have this show if it wasn't for Team Spirit, man. Big hand for Team Spirit, y'all. Anyway, another huge hack attack is coming on, not a hack attack, but an attack. A hack too, but separately an attack on cryptocurrencies. And this is going to be the FCC that you're going to start to see pressuring regulations that are going to send many cryptocurrencies going belly up. and taking money and running. And remember, I warned you a year or however long ago it was. I said that a big cryptocurrency is going to take everybody's money and run. I told you to get your money out of cryptocurrency because I wasn't sure which one it was. And look what happened with Sam Brinkman or whatever, that crazy people took everybody's money and all that. That's exactly what happened. Exactly what Spirit warned us. Well, Spirit's warning you this again. And I don't know, it's not Bitcoin. I don't know anything about cryptocurrencies, but it's a big one, Spirit says, and they're going to take it, especially when the FCC starts to push regulations. And that's all part of the government's plan to oversee cryptocurrencies being their cryptocurrency and no others. There will be no others in the future. It'll be the government, the world, the global currency that they wish to implement globally on all of us, which will again eventually lead to the mark of the beast. You don't have the mark, you don't get your vaccine, you don't you don't go to work 8 hours today, or you don't do this. It's all going to be recorded on your chip. It's a social credit score system, exactly what they implemented in China. That's what they're doing. That's what they're planning, and that's what they're pushing. And here in the United States, Joe Biden's all about it. Well, if Joe Biden's even alive, because perhaps he could be dead. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Excuse me. Shortages. I wanted to give you this because I talked about shortages back in 2020 before COVID lockdown. I warned that major shortages were going to come in the future. And we're just about 3 years from there. And some of my predictions take 2 to 3 years to happen. And we're 3 years, just over 3 years from me telling you that. And already we're seeing major shortages. I'm going to give you the top 15. One of my favorites of all, number one on the list, is ice cream. I scream, you scream, Joe Biden screams for ice cream. Somebody needs to take Joe Biden's ice cream and shove it in his face. Just shove it up his nose and watch the vanilla come out his eyeballs. Anyway, due to dairy shortages, ice cream. I love me some Talenti double chocolate ice cream. Oh my God, I just started salivating. Anyway, number two is tequila. And let me tell you, because of the agave crop shortage due to drought and such, and the Mexican long-nosed bat. Apparently, there's a problem with the Mexican long-nosed bat, which is also affecting the agave crop. Therefore, I tell you, friends, you want something to invest in that can pay off later? Because I'm going to, as soon as I have the extra cash, go out and buy a couple bottles of your top premium tequila. Stick that in a cabinet, hide it away somewhere, and that crap's going to be worth a fortune in another year to 2 years. Trust me on that one. You want a good investment besides gold and silver? Tequila, y'all. Tequila. That's what we used to call it in the bars. The next one on the list is Dr. Pepper. You're a pepper. I'm a pepper. Dr. Pepper. Yepper. I don't drink that garbage. I used to love Dr. Pepper. I mean, I love the taste of Dr. Pepper, but I haven't drank soda in over 10 years. Sometimes I'll have a Sprite at lunch, but it's rare. Just don't do soda. It took me a long time. I used to be addicted to Diet Pepsi. Addicted. 12 pack a day. Easy. Over ice always. Everything's always over ice, as you hear my water with ice in it. Yeah, so I got off that stuff. That stuff's like crack, man. Beef, just as I warned, beef is number 4 on the list. Number 5 is farm-grown produce. That's concerning, friends. I told you all, plant a garden, get a garden going. If people would have actually took that advice and started growing a garden, we wouldn't have a farm produce shortage brewing as we speak. And this is also due to the fertilizer is up 700% in price. So that has a lot to do with there not being enough farm grown produce in our stores, in our produce aisles. Yeah, but fertilizer, that's and drought, of course, is adding to all this. Craft beers, which I could care less, but it's on the list. Craft beers, a 60% drop in the production, while 28% stopped production entirely. Mayonnaise. Let me tell you, I love me my Hellman's. It's got to be Hellman's. I got that from my mother. It's always got to be Hellman's. Always. And I'm telling you, I consume a lot of mayonnaise, which is actually very good for you. Due to, others may say it's not, but it actually is. Very good for you. It's good for your skin. It's good for your hair. It's good for all kinds of amazing things. And I noticed this, that mayonnaise is up 18%. I think it's up more than that, but the reports say 18%. And that's another one that's going to be shortages. I buy it in bulk at the club. Alkaline batteries, big one, real big one, because production costs are up 156%. Pharmaceuticals, including Tylenol. Canned fish, like tuna fish, sardines. I love me some tuna. That's another thing on my list to buy at the club. I always buy it by the big packs, tuna, because I love me some tuna. You got a dish of tuna fish, a fish. Who was that? Monty Python or somebody like that? Oh, Dr. Demento's Demented Hits. You remember that show? Am I dating myself? That's where that comes from. Anyway, canned fish. Mustard, which I do not like mustard. Mustard, which almost doubled in price in just the past 2 years. Chickpeas. So if you like your hummus, I love me some hummus. I tried to make hummus. I wasn't successful. I'll have to try again. Hummus. There's not going to be hummus. You're going to see hummus companies that produce hummus going belly up. And both Russia and Ukraine are big suppliers of chickpeas. So there you go with your chickpea shortage. Number 12. Number 13, something that I consume a lot of on a daily basis with my tea. Honey, baby. Yeah, honey. I love you, honey. I love you, honey. Anyway, honey, experts are calling for the worst year ever when it comes to honey. Beekeepers have had losses of 45%, some as high as 90%. Historic average is between 12 and 15%, but 45% is record-breaking. Sad, actually. I haven't noticed many bees, but I don't have that many flowers bloomed yet, so hopefully we'll see some bees. But anyway, honeybees especially. Honeybee. Hey, honeybee. Anyway, cranberry juice is another one, which is down over the cranberry harvest was down by 100 million pounds of cranberries. That's a lot, friends. That's a lot of cranberries and a lot of cranberry juice. And number 15 on the list that we all could easily guess is fuel, propane, gasoline, and so forth. I was going to get propane for my tank outside, and they say it's $3.61 a gallon. And then when you go and order 100 gallons, they add all these fees on it. It was $410 for 100 gallons. That's $4.10 a gallon. That is insane. I didn't get it. I said, I'm going to switch to another company because the other company, if you switch tanks, will give you half off on your first refill. So I'm waiting till this tank's empty, and then I'm going to call them up and get me a filled up tank for the winter for half price. It's the way to do it. Switching things, friends, calling and switching your car insurance. Call your cable company and say, hey, the other cable company gave me a better deal. Can you match it? Doing things like that, you'll lower your bills. I do it usually every 2 years, and the last time I did, I'm almost due to do that, actually. This summer, I think I'm actually due. And the last time I did it, I saved over $300 a month by switching everything, switching all kinds of stuff. Amazing. So you can do it too. So we already see produce on the top 12 shortage list, and I see an issue arising in the near future when it comes to peppers. Not Dr. Pepper, but pepper. Pepper. Red peppers, green peppers, hot peppers, all kinds of peppers. So there's going to be huge recalls this season when it comes to peppers and issues around peppers. And I wasn't sure. I think it's just regular bell peppers, but it could involve hot peppers as well. There's going to be a major shortage that Spirit just told me of Tabasco sauce. So I guess hot peppers, whatever they use to make Tabasco sauce. And the company, the big company, I don't know who they are, but Spirit says the big company is going to really have major issues and have to cause layoffs. And their price of their hot sauce is going to triple in price from what it already doubled. So it already doubled, now it's going to triple. That's what Spirit just said about hot sauce. So if you love your hot sauce, baby, especially the company, I don't know what company Spirit's talking about. Maybe you do down below in the comments. But huge recalls this season, and when it comes to peppers, but also this is going to include things like tomatoes and broccoli as well. Which means if you got a kid that loves their little spaghetti, you better start stocking up on your spaghetti sauce. Because I have already noticed the increase in that. You used to be able to buy like a jar of organic for like $2.50. Not anymore. Not anymore. There's also going to be an issue, I believe, a disease that's going to affect potatoes. Potato? potato. Which one do you say? Whatever you say, there's going to be a shortage for potatoes, which I said before, and it happened where I said that they would not be able to serve French fries in some restaurants, and that happened, I believe it was Japan. But it's going to happen again late this season. By the time we get to the fall months, you're going to see some fast food restaurants having to be forced to close because they won't have French fries in that state or that country or area. So get your potatoes. I got them growing in my garden, y'all. Every year, regular potatoes, purple potatoes, sweet potatoes. But several countries, Spirit said, is going to have potato shortages. Craft beers and tequila will not be the only ones leaving the shelves empty when it comes to your liquor stores and your beer distributors. This goes along with my past prediction, if you recall, that there would be in the future major alcohol shortages. And I said years ago that eventually in the future, I don't know how far in the future, but in the future, they're going to start banning alcohol in many places. And Spirit says we're going to start seeing that soon. So soon, I would say within the next year, a ban on alcohol in many places. So did you hear about the alleged, it's not alleged actually, they're planning on doing this, what do you call it? In Ireland, they're planning on killing 20,000 cattle in the name of climate and saving the climate. Ireland weighs coaling. They call it coaling, if you didn't know, which is they do to the forest up here too. They cut out all the trees, but they do it apparently to these poor animals. 200,000 dairy cows. Do you know how much that would feed? Do you know how many people that would feed, my friends? 200,000 dairy cows. Do you know how much meat you get off of one cow? A ton, literally, or a half a ton anyway. Probably about a half a ton, I guess. 500 pounds, I would imagine. Anyway, dairy cows to meet climate goals, but says the decision is not final. Spirit says they're already doing it. Don't listen to them. They're lying to you. They're already doing it, even though they said their decision's not final. The Department of Agriculture in Ireland said that it reported outlining a 200,000 reduction of dairy cows in a modeling document and not final policy. I hate when these ads pop up. Get out of the way, ad. According to the Friday report, cows would have to be culled at the cost of approximately $650,000 to taxpayers over the next 3 years to meet climate emissions requirements. Climate emissions requirements. This is the biggest load of BS I ever heard. What Spirit tells me is that they're actually taking those cows. They're taking that meat. They're being the elite. They're taking these cattle and they're killing them off and they're stocking them up and putting them in their freezers and their underground bunkers and underground cities. That's what their plan is to do with these 20,000 cows. That meat ain't going to go to waste. They're going to say it went to waste, but they're going to actually keep it for themselves. This should tell you something, friends. This should tell you that there is a major fear with the elite as far as running to get everything they need for their underground bunkers and their supplies. Again, Zuckerberg has literally military grade drones that can just come along and shoot you if you're in the way, protecting his underground bunker mansion. Why all of a sudden are they it seems that they're rushing into doing this, doesn't it? Now, if you missed my video that I did, millionaire bunkers and safe zones, and you want to know the safe zones to live in the world, make sure you check out that video. But there's a reason. They know something we don't. And I talked about it, I think, last week. And I'll talk about it again in a separate video in the future. But this all aligns to the Hopi prophecy of the blue kachina and the red kachina. It's approaching. Not next week or next year, but within the next decade. I'm losing my voice there for a minute. Let's talk about weather and storms. On June 11th, a date that Spirit said would be significant, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake shook our friends out there in Japan. And Spirit warns that a much larger one is coming and that Japan will be hit from 3 different points. It was almost like, man, what's going on? Being hit at each end of Japan and then right there in the middle where they just were hit. They were just hit in the middle with that 6.2. But Spirit says 3 different points of Japan will be hit by earthquakes. The Japanese volcano that I mentioned last week is erupting, and this is, to me, Spirit says this is just a small warning as to what is developing beneath the ocean surface, the sea surface, not far off from the coast of Japan. And Spirit says they may get lucky and dodge the next tsunami. So we can only pray and hope that that's the case, that they dodge the next tsunami. And I want to warn nearby residents of Japan who live, I'd say, I don't know how big, say 50-mile radius of Fukushima power plant along that coast. Not that it's Fukushima power plant, but that area out in the Pacific where that last big one happened in 2011. I feel like that whole area is active. Maybe not the same spot, but that same line of the craton, I guess you call it, the plates right there. So friends in Japan, be mindful, be prepared, be aware. 2 sun flares in a row, Spirit says, will ignite a double volcano. Now, if you remember, the last time Spirit told us a major solar flare would ignite a massive earthquake, that's exactly what happened, and Turkey got hit. So today, Spirit says 2 sun flares in a row, I don't know what size, but I would say they'd have to be significant, are going to ignite, and they'd be back to back, like boom, boom, is going to ignite double volcanic eruptions that shall be a big warning before a large earthquake unleashes a large wave, a huge wave. So again, to get clarity on that, 2 sun flares will ignite 2 double volcano eruptions that will be the big warning before this big quake unleashes a huge wave. That will crash. Spirit said that wave would crash into several coastlines. So it's not hitting just one place, it's hitting several coastlines. I can't say how big, I don't know. This could probably align with my past prediction. I'm not clear. July jumps out at me pretty strongly too when it comes to major weather events. That just jumped out to me right now. And I'm not clear on the dates because if you know anything, predictions, the hardest thing to do is nail down the exact time. I have in the past, but it's very challenging, and that's only when Spirit gives it to me. I mean, other than that, it would be a guess, just like you. I'd be guessing. Other than that, if it don't come from Spirit, then it's a guess. Usually an intelligent, intuitive guess, but it's still a guess. So I feel, I don't know when or anything with the dates, but I do feel that we're getting very close to this happening, and it's going to be influenced both by the coming sun flares and the moon cycles, both at the same time, is what I felt today. So the sun flare and the moon cycle. So therefore, it could be as soon as this coming weekend on the new moon, or it could be in July for the full moon, which happens on July 3rd, just in time for Independence Day here in the United States. A day in which I've been warning people for a couple of years, and so far I've been wrong, and I hope I continue to be wrong. But I just feel like an attack on our independence eventually will happen on that particular day purposely. So again, I ask you all, let us hold in the light that they don't attack our country or our independence July 4th or any other day for that matter. A huge warning goes to our friends in Pakistan. Pakistan is in the path of a major cyclone that is about to wreak havoc upon your land, friends in Pakistan. Your land. Unprecedented flooding is coming. And the strong part of me felt that this is all connected to weather warfare. That's right, friends. Weather warfare. We know they have it. We know that's what happened in Turkey. Anyway, the elite's ability to manipulate weather patterns. They do it. They've been saying it since the 50s. I forget who the general was that said, control the weather, you control the world. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. The exact same thing goes for the poor folks out there in Cuba, which I warned Cuba, if you remember, in my weather prediction video. If you missed my weather prediction video, you got to go back to that and check it out because I talked about the hurricanes, the names of hurricanes, and the hurricanes you need to be, ready for. So the friends in Cuba, I did say that there'd be floods and disaster, except I thought it would be from a hurricane. I didn't think it'd be the way it is. So, I was partially right, but not completely. I could still be completely right. Hurricanes aren't here yet, but at least wrong for now. Again, Spirit does make me feel that the Cubans are in for a long haul when it comes to weather disasters. So Puerto Rico as well just echoed in my ear. Spirit also confirms that this was also definitely an act of weather warfare in Cuba. Something that we are going to be seeing more and more of this year, according to Team Spirit. Interesting. So I just want them to get caught. That would be the most interesting. 200,000 acres of farmland in Cuba has been flooded, which is only going to add to their already shrinking supplies for Cubans, and it's going to cause them major food shortages to a point that in the future, not just Cuba and several other countries, parts of Africa, and even parts of China are going to desperately need outside food assistance and rescues. Spirit reminded me of Ethiopia back in the 80s. And remember Live Aid and, back then. It reminded me all of that. That's starvation at its worst. Flooding is going to become way too common. It already is in 2023. And I see visions of people swimming to safety in the southern parts of the United States, perhaps somewhere between Alabama, Louisiana, and the Carolinas. Cyclones, typhoons, monsoons, hurricanes, and major tropical storms are about to cause more damage globally in 2023 than ever previously reported. And friends in Pakistan and Cuba, so like prayers to them, please, friends. Prayers to those folks. They need it. So this is why I always urge you, and I've been urging you for the longest time, to always have a plan, have supplies, and have everything and anything you possibly need to keep your family safe for at least 30 days. Preferably for at least 6 months, but 30 days will do in a matter of a storm, something like that. Other things you might need to be prepared longer, but at least for 30 days for storms and weather and things like that. Wait until winter comes, friends. Enjoy the summer while it's warm. I see a vision of a huge disaster relief concert. Reminded me of Live Aid. Actually, not Live Aid. Live Aid was a huge relief concert, but sort of like Live Aid, but I can't think of a more recent one. The one that didn't they do one for the Haiti people of Haiti during that earthquake? So I see a vision of a huge disaster relief concert and fundraising campaign, except I'm not really clear what the disaster may entail. It would have to affect the United States directly or a close ally, of course, for me to see that. I was also reminded of a huge earthquake back in Haiti years back. So I think that's when there might have been a hurricane relief or earthquake relief concert for that, maybe. But Spirit reminded me of the earthquake in Haiti and Hurricane Katrina, both. So I would say Spirit's relating whatever is coming, this big catastrophe, weather related or climate related, is being related to Hurricane Katrina and what was the other one? Oh, the quake in Haiti. Total brain fart. I've been here a while. Almost done. I'm actually going to have to cut it. I have a lot more to go, but I'm not going to be able to get it all to you today. It's just too much. Didn't realize I had so much. Wow, look at all this. Now I lost my spot scanning through. A warning to the folks in Italy and Greece. And a fundraising campaign maybe for them. I don't know. But just a huge warning to Italy and Greece, because I feel that there's going to be evacuations taking place during a major event that I predict will likely be a volcanic eruption that is accompanied by several major earthquakes. So again, our friends in Italy and Greece, I warn you that I had visions of rescues taking place. And I believe these rescues are taking place due to a major volcanic eruption and accompanied with earthquakes to Italy and Greece. So please, friends there, be well, be prepared. And this is for everybody, though, that flooding is going to be a big deal. Going back to Italy, I see flooding in Venice, Italy, taking place. Catholics and the attack on religion. Did you see this? Let me bring this article up. It's definitely tea time. Exclusive report alleges Catholic hospitals are linked to transgender surgeries and abortions. Oh, I forgot that clip. Shoot, I got a clip to play for you. The largest Catholic health system in the nation has allegedly funded and performed transgender surgeries and gender affirming medical interventions, defying traditional Catholic teachings, according to the investigative report released by the Epic Times. The Epic Times, I get that newspaper, it's the only one I read. So I know people send me links all the time. Sometimes certain people send me a ridiculous amount of links that I really don't need. I do pay attention to the news. What I want is links to things that confirm stories. But if you're going to leave links below, friends, you need to leave a title, because otherwise it's just going to get deleted. I won't approve just the link. If I don't know what the link is, I'm not clicking on it. And I know most people aren't going to click on it either. If there's nothing there that tells us what the link is, I know I'm not interested. I'm sure most people will not. So please do that. But yeah, so they're going against traditional Catholic teachings. Does that surprise anybody? That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, look at what they did. In the past, I talked about attacks on churches, but I also must acknowledge that more and more truth is going to be exposed when it comes to some churches. Not all churches. I don't speak for all, but some. And not all Catholic either. But churches who have evil, sinister practices, we're going to see being exposed more and more, like we saw all the Catholic priests being exposed years ago. And they're still paying the price for that. We see this happening in Canada right now, where the Native people are demanding justice for the 60,000 plus Native children who were tortured and killed by church groups. More and more is going to come out, Spirit says. More is coming. And it will be disturbing, according to Spirit, but it's time for this justice for the Native people, especially in Canada and globally, to have their justice. And I do not know what is happening in the Amazon, but I saw visions today of the Amazon, and I saw many Native tribes in the Amazon coming together for a fight. Not just in the Amazon. Spirit says that there's going to be big fights and people coming together, Native people and spiritually grounded people, to fight. Arise in the defenders of our water, which we need. We need more water fighters. And water warriors, WW. I like that. Water warrior. I am a water warrior. So more water warriors. But if you remember Standing Rock Reservation and that whole event that took place back a while, it's actually my most popular video on YouTube is the Black Snake Prophecy. Black Snake Prophecy. It was the first edited video I ever made in my life. And I thought it was pretty damn good. And apparently others did, because it's got 500,000 views. Check that out. But it reminded me of the Standing Rock Reservation and things breaking out similar to that. Except this time, I believe we're going to win this fight against the evildoers. Which takes me back to the same subject of water. Speaking of water, thousands of fish have washed ashore dead in Texas. And Spirit warned us that issues would arise with beaches this season. Texas dead fish, they claim, is from the algae, which is probably likely the truth, which, I would say definitely partially the case. But I also feel that Spirit made me feel that there's actually more to it than that. Maybe some of the oil spills in that area, perhaps, just guessing, probably a good guess. But a warning to the people of Texas, for starters, not just y'all in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, but not just you. A hacking of the grid is coming to Texas again. It reminded me of that winter that y'all had where people froze to death. And Texas, I have no doubt, is a targeted state by the elite. Why? Who knows? But, well, they're probably afraid of you, actually. They're afraid because you carry your guns on your hip like we do here in Arizona. But I would expect there to be also a significant earthquake to hit within a 100-mile circle of where these fish washed ashore in Texas. I had the name of the beach here. I don't know where I put it. I know I typed in the name of the beach. Anyway, unfortunately, we're going to see so many more of these events with fish, which will add to the shortages of canned fish, We're going to see waters turning red from algae, just like the Bible has told us and warned us. And we've seen it over the past decade, but we're going to see a lot more of that this year, especially over in the continent of Africa and around the Middle East. So pay attention to that. Probably the Euphrates River, parts of the Euphrates turning red. Parts of the Euphrates River will turn blood red, just as the Bible says. I don't know if the Bible says Euphrates River. I said Euphrates River. And it's going to be a huge concern as we, this year and as we move forward into the future. I see a small city's water being tainted somehow, making people very sick. It made me think of another Flint, Michigan is coming. Wasn't it Flint, Michigan where that happened? I'm pretty sure it was. Now, let me play this video clip for you as soon as I find it, because this is really important. Because, could the waters... I always say it's the water that's making people go crazy. It's the water that's making all these things happen on the planet with people, health, just everything, confusion, mental illness. I swear it's the water is the big component to it. Could water perhaps be the cause of so many health issues, cancers, mental illness, and perhaps even the sudden growth of the transgender community? I know it sounds interesting and crazy, but wait until you hear this, because this is where it's crazy. Hopefully I can find this, because I forgot to put it on my computer. Here it is.
Over the last several years, the U.S. Geological
let me go back.
Survey has
Ah, shoot. I'm going to play this for you as soon as I find it again.
Philly doesn't have the best luck right now.
Where'd it go? Oh, my Lord. I lost it. I got to open it back up. This is really, it's just a small 20-second clip.
Over the last several years, the U.S. Geological Survey has tested the water. It found that something in the water is tampering with the hormones of 85% of the male smallmouth bass and a quarter of the male largemouth bass and causing them to develop female reproductive traits. Researchers suspect pharmaceuticals from human waste that the upstream water treatment plant can filter.
Did you catch that? Male fish developing female organs. You heard it right there. That's from a science channel thing. I play it again.
Over the last several years, the U.S. Geological Survey has tested the water. It found that something in the water is tampering with the hormones of 85% of the male smallmouth bass and a quarter of the male largemouth bass and causing them to develop female reproductive traits.
So now think about this, friends. If the water, and scientists have just proven, it's like there's a whole joke about frogs being gay, right? Well, that was actually a scientific thing too. That was a documentary or something about the frogs, but now you just heard it. They are finding these big mouth bass and fish developing male fish developing female hormones. Hello, doesn't that speak like highly? Like really? Something's going on. Now, I know it's not just the water that's making people decide that they want to change their sexuality or whatever. There's more to it. It's part of our soul contracts. It's part of our journey, our lessons in life. And these people chose these lessons before they came here. But again, if we were to take a scientific instead of a spiritual approach and take the scientific approach, it's in the water, our friends. It's in the water. It's crazy. That's another piece that I'm going to do in the near future is on the water and the fluoride and the history of that, because people need more and more of that. They need to be aware. But I just thought that was interesting. Just like I thought it was interesting with the aliens and the alien life. If you missed my video on the aliens, I did one on Friday. I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. But more information came out. This gentleman, his name's Angel, who claimed to have seen the aliens in the backyard. There was one thing that alarmed me that he said that I can totally relate to, that I wanted to bring up today to go along with that video I did on Friday. I don't disbelieve them. Actually, I very much believe them. I believe anything's possible. But at the same time, the way they're pumping the story out at us, they're using it as a psyop. No doubt about it that they're using it. Whether they planned it or whether they're using it, they're at least using it. We know that. But what alarmed me is how this person said that they froze. That is a very common report from people who encountered aliens where they freeze and they can't move. They can't do anything. And it happens to people in the middle of the night sleeping, where they wake up, see something at the bed, and they freeze and they can't move. So that was common. But here's the part that I can relate to more than anything is where he said that they blurred everything out. Everything became blurry and they couldn't see, and it was all blurred out. Now, if you remember my Bradshaw Ranch videos that I did 4 of them all together, I believe. Bradshaw Ranch is just like Skinwalker Ranch right here in Arizona, right on the other side of the mountain where I live. If I were to go as the crow flies, it's probably 5 miles that way. I bet. I'm going to have to go look and see. Not that Bradshaw Ranch is really on a map, but I know where it's at. Been there many times and had really creepy experiences, including taking a picture of a 10-foot tall alien in the field that we saw, and it's blurred out in the picture. The picture's completely blurry. You can see something there, but you can't see what it is. That's the part of the story that I can relate to that alarmed me that something's definitely going on with this. And if you remember, I said back in the day that there would be UFO crashes that would be caught on film. Well, something crashed there, apparently or allegedly. That wasn't caught on film, but there will be more coming, friends. This ain't nothing. And I don't know what it is with Vegas, but both Las Vegas or just Nevada, but New Mexico. New Mexico is the home of the reptilians, friends. When I drove through there, it was beautiful, but it was so disturbing energetically to me. So more is going to come out. I touched a lot on aliens last week and in that video, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. And let's see what's important because I got to finish up and get this uploaded. So we're going to have to skip a couple things in my notes. We'll skip Instagram pushing their PEDOs algorithms. Messed up. Guns and weed, I'm going to have to skip that one. They're using guns. People like in, I think Jersey and Pennsylvania both, if you have a medical marijuana card, you can't get a gun permit. That is ridiculous. But you can go to a bar, get drunk, fight with somebody, and then go shoot them. Yeah, that's okay. But you can't smoke weed. Let me tell you, somebody that is a marijuana smoker is the least likely person of all people to do something like that. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, we'll skip that. No more. That's enough said about that. Let's talk about, did Biden actually die, according to this report? According to I have to pull it up. Witness to the smoking gun evidence. Oh, come on. Yeah, witness with smoking gun evidence on Biden died under mysterious circumstances. A woman who may have had evidence against the Biden family in a bribery plot passed away inexplicitly, a former attorney told Donald Trump claims. Rudolph Giuliani says that he knew about the chief accountant of Burisma and a company which put Hunter Biden on its board. The accountant was, as reported, the wife of, this is not at all what I thought it was. Whoever sent me this story, this is not, see, this is why you need to put a title under your links, because now I'm just going to delete them from now on in if they don't. Biden died. I don't get how this story, I swore I said that. Well, we'll still read the article. The unnamed woman died under suspicious circumstances, Giuliani claimed on Newsmax Saturday. She was willing to give up all offshore bank accounts, including the Biden's accounts, which is interesting anyway. This is still an interesting story because, somebody was about to give up the smoking gun. It sounds like the Clinton crime family actions, right? They're all connected. But yeah, people disappear as soon as they come out with information. Interesting. This is not even, this is MSN. They're a joke. I don't even like their news. Like anything that comes up with them, I feel like MSN is like supporting, I don't know, Bill Gates or somebody like that. Moving right along. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, can you say the word election? Can you say the word meddling? Now put the two words together. And that's exactly what's happening right here in the United States right now. And I don't know how anybody cannot see that. Those that are like, oh, gung-ho, that Trump's indicted and gung-ho on that. Like, do you realize that the person that's running our country is just as corrupt, if not worse? Probably worse, with his drug addict, crack-smoking son? Come on now, seriously. If you can't see the agenda behind this, That saddens me that people would be that blind, and that I could care less for either one of them. They're both corrupt as far as I'm concerned. They're all corrupt as far as I'm concerned. But that's just a fact. Just be open minded and look at what's happening. It's definitely meddling, 100%. And I meant to do a reading on it, but again, I wouldn't have had time to cover it anyway. But as I said before, friends, the 2024 political campaign is already becoming the dirtiest in U.S. history, but it's going to become dirty. When someone runs for president, but does absolutely no campaigning at all, if you understand what I'm saying here, and wins. Come on, like seriously? That should be the biggest red flag that flies ever so highly, and not falsely either. Anyone with half a brain can clearly see that this is just part of their political fight against each other. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty sick. It's pretty demented. But get ready for political attacks, friends, and craziness all revolved around this, which they're going to blame, of course, on, and some of it may be MAGA, some of it, but not all of it. They're going to utilize that like they did back at the Capitol. Same thing, and that's what they're going to try to pose. I could see more rioting taking place, and again, they'll, what is it? Soros will send in his little Antifa friends and maybe put MAGA hats on their heads or something. I don't know. But folks, what I say is it's all crazy. It's all corrupt. Unplug from it, because the only way we could stop it is if we all took to the streets and put some stranger in the president's office, because we'd probably have better luck with that than anybody. Picking somebody off the street and just putting them in office, again, we'd probably be way better off. And I don't like to even go into it or talk about it because it's all just so disturbing. The whole thing from both sides is disturbing. It's just ridiculous and just unbelievable. Anyway, a huge attack is coming. Several, actually. And it's going to be hack attacks. So these are a couple predictions I want to leave you with. A huge hack attack is coming against grids, which I've said before, but it came up today. And Spirit also told me that they have an internet kill switch, and that they are going to test their internet kill switch in one particular country. And we'll hear about, everybody having their internet out. Spirit says that's a test for their kill switch that can kill the internet completely or kill whatever area they want to kill. And they'll do this purposely when something happens that they don't want you on social media finding out about. So keep an eye out for that. I saw a shooting or some type of chaos at a parade. And I had deja vu, so I might have touched on this in the past, not long ago. But I feel like I was under attack from both sides. It was really weird. Like I'm in the parade, I'm walking in the parade, hey, carrying my big Peanuts or Snoopy balloon, and I feel like the attack's coming from several directions. It was really strange. I don't know what the attack is. Perhaps 3 spots is where I was coming from. It's like kind of like they're coming from behind me, they're coming from over there, and they're coming from over on my right. And I don't know who they are, but that's just what I felt. And it might not be here in the United States. I'm not clear where this is. A warning to our friends in the LGBT community to be very mindful and safe. Remember, it was a year ago we saw a shooting at a gay club in, where was that, Colorado? And then we saw the one in Florida before that. And I just feel like there's a small group of psychopaths that can pose some type of attack in the future. Whether they do or not is another story. Hopefully they don't, but I feel like it's a group. It reminds me of, what was it? That school shooting. Oh God, I just drew a blank. Oh, I can't think of it. The first one, the first big one, and how it was a group of psychopaths. It makes me feel that. Columbine, that's the word. So a final note, because I could have more and a lot more, but I'm going to leave it with this for now. As the world seems to be closing in on us, prices are skyrocketing, wars in Europe, fires in Canada, and a climate that seems to be going cray-cray on its own. I ask you all, friends, to take these next few days before us and our new moon to remove all these burdens that are heavily weighing you down, that could have such a negative impact on your life, but also on your health and your daily well-being. I urge you all to hold and always hold on to hope, knowing that fresh beginnings are right in front of us. They lie ahead. Each and every day is a new beginning. With hope, Positive attitude and simply knowing that you are in God's hands is all you need to fulfill and feed the goodness of your life. And you deserve to feed the goodness of your life. And that is one of the many ways to do so. Hold yourself in the light and love, but also hold our beautiful Mother Earth in light and love as well. And tuck all that goodness in the center of your heart's vibration and let it grow into a bountiful harvest of goodness. Always remember that your thoughts and your words are the blueprints to your future, and therefore the future is in your own hands. With that said, friends, it's always great hanging out with you. I will be doing another group chat next week. Every 2 weeks, we'll do group chat. So I will let you know next week where to put those questions. Don't start yet because I'm not taking questions yet. But I will ahead of time before we get to next week. And I'm sure I'll be back later on this week too. So until then, remember, I love you all. Thank you for your love and support and making this free content possible. Those who help make that possible for everybody else. And I leave you with be bold, friends. Be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you are awesome. Rock it out and rock out the world with goodness, hope, and joy. Love you lots. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Spiritman JT signing off. Namaste. Oop, I hit my microphone. Namaste.